to share this training on how I went from a six-figure month to a six-figure week in just 6 months. The most exciting thing about this training is I actually achieved that without changing anything inside of my business. As always, some of the principles, some of the things I'm going to be sharing about, will feel very simple, and you may think, oh, I've heard that before. Yeah, I know all that. But I really invite you to hear it again and really let it sink in. Because if you've heard all of this before and you've actually applied these things, or maybe you haven't, then there's something missing, right? There's a piece of the puzzle that's missing. So, keep an open mind. Drop a hashtag replay if you are catching the replay, and tag me in on any questions that you may have, so I get notified and I will answer them. If I miss any question as I'm delivering this training live, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments, and if I miss them, I will come back and answer them as well. I do all of that personally myself. So before I get stuck into the training, let me super quickly introduce myself to those of you who are new to my world, because I know there are many beautiful women joining me every single day. And my name is Anne Ryan. I'm a business mentor and a money mindset coach, and I help my clients who are also coaches and consultants to package and position their value into a high ticket offer that is so good that it practically sells itself. I show my clients how to accelerate their authority so that they can take their prospects from cold to sold really fast, and I help them to implement a predictable, organic client attraction system that brings in consistent income month after month whilst working less than 4 hours most days, right? Everything that I teach are things that I have fully embodied, fully implemented myself, and achieved results in for myself, and also my clients have achieved incredible results, right? So if you'd like to explore what working with me looks like, comment hashtag support or send me a private message. I do not work with everyone that I speak to. We will just have a lovely conversation in the DMs and figure out if my offer is a good fit for you. I don't offer sales calls. I don't convince anyone. If you feel unsure, I completely understand exactly how you feel, because when you know, you know. And equally, when you feel unsure, sign, right? It's a sign that you either don't fully trust yourself or you don't trust the coach. Either way, it's something that you've got to figure out for yourself. And I want clients who feel a full body yes, right? So that is the intro part. So let me get into this training. When I reflect on how I went from a six-figure month to a six-figure week in just 6 months, what I actually did doesn't make sense, because my strategy didn't actually change. And if anything, I marketed less. I definitely gave more value for free. I stopped taking sales calls. So my conversion rates actually have been so much less since not taking sales calls, right? But so it doesn't make sense that I would make more money. I focused more on my clients and I increased my prices. Again, it doesn't make sense, right? So my 100K week came despite all of this, right? So I marketed less, like I said, and I increased my prices which doesn't make sense, right? That I would necessarily then see a quantum leap happen in my business, but that's exactly what did happen. So when I reflect on this, it really had nothing to do with what I was doing, but who I have become. Who I've become, and this becoming has actually quite honestly been happening over the last 12 months or more, but certainly it kind of um, took a whole new, deeper level of becoming in the last 6 months, it's fair to say, right? I stopped seeing illogical results as only being available to other people. And I started seeing them as being available to me. How sure do you feel about your ability to make $100,000 in a week? Let's just use that as an example. You may not even want it, right? But let's kind of, because it's a crazy result, right? So let's just use that as an example. How sure do you feel about your ability to make $100,000 in a week? Use a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being not a chance, it ain't gonna happen, to 10 being it's only a matter of time. Yeah, so I'm not saying this has to happen tomorrow, but how sure do you believe that is available to you, that is possible to you? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Because it starts there. If you don't believe that something is available to you, then it won't be. Follow this training. I promise you guys, you're going to watch this, you're going to hear some of the things that I'm talking about. It's going to seem way too simple, and you're going to dismiss this and think, yeah, I do that. Yeah, I've heard that before. Yeah, it doesn't work for me. This is not rocket science, right? Nothing that I do or teach is rocket science, and equally, I am not any more special than you are, right? Everything is available to us. Everything that we seek is already within us, yet some people can access all of this and others just can't. And it's who we're being that plays a massive part. What we do does make a difference too, right? But keep in mind, the focus of this training, the context of this training is from 100K months to 100K weeks in 6 months, right? I've done many other trainings around many other things that are very much strategy focused around offer creation and all those other things, right? This is about that shift. And I was really thinking about what I was going to share today, because in many ways it was too easy, and yet I know you want to know how I did it, and that's exactly what I'm going to share. It's not my goal either, to be honest, though. That's fine, right? But whatever that goal is, right? Whether it's 100K in a month, whether it's 100K in a year, the thing that you don't yet have, that kind of, sometimes we don't allow ourselves to dream bigger because we don't want to be disappointed. I certainly wasn't dreaming about 100K week when I was not yet at 100K months, yeah. But now I'm at 100K a week. It's like, I wonder if I can do 100K in a day. Not because I need it, not because I want it. Sorry, it is because I want it. It's because I want to experience it. This is available for us all. Simply put, I achieved, there's more to this training, so please don't leave. I achieved $100,000 in a week by seeing it happen. I visualized it into existence. All the strategy aside, right? Because I've been doing the strategy all along. Nothing has changed with the strategy. I've also visualized all along, but I visualized this into existence because I could see it so clearly in my mind's eye. I also think I link 100K weeks, months with a lot of hard work. Sam, I am so glad you brought that up. Cool, because I'm going to touch on that too. You cannot achieve something you don't really want, right? So I am coming to that. So hold that thought, please. And please don't stop watching this, gorgeous ladies. If you're kind of thinking, here we go, I've heard this all before, I've tried that, and it doesn't work for me, it's just about visualization and blah, blah. I promise you, just hang in there, listen to my words, and ask me questions, right? Tell me if you've tried something and it hasn't worked for you, and maybe I can help you get a different shift that you haven't yet had, right? But this is the trust and the belief that you need, right? The trust and the belief. It's because of how we think that we haven't often achieved what it is that we desire, quite honestly. So in that week, the last week in June, every morning, and I do this every day, but I'm focusing it specifically on that week, right? I visualized how I wanted every day to go, how I wanted that whole week to look, and prior to that point, I'd visualized the entire month coming in a way I wanted the month to go. But that week, I decided, so in Australia, 30 June is the end of the financial year, and I've been thinking, and I was really feeling into my pricing, and I've had clients saying to me, your investment is way lower than it could be, and we get signs, right? We get so many signs, and I was really feeling like it was time to increase my investment, the investment to work with me. And so that week I started sort of really kind of feeling into that, and I'd close my eyes and I created this movie in my mind of seeing it happen, quite honestly. And I could see it so clearly. I've done visualizations in the past, but I've never had this level of clarity as I had that week. I could see reading messages from people that wanted to work with me. I could see myself having a wait list for my mastermind. I could see the PayPal notifications, the Stripe notifications on my phone. I pictured different things each day, but the one consistent thing is I felt it in my heart that it was happening. It was happening. And I truly feel like I visualized it into existence, right? I don't want to underestimate or not be really kind of transparent about the fact. Now, I've been consistent for a long time too. So all those things played a part, ladies. Like, this doesn't happen overnight. But 6 months ago, I had experienced my first $100,000 month. And let me also be clear, I haven't had consistent $100,000 months ever since, but my lowest has been about 50,000, since then, and probably about 58,000 since then. And this particular week, I'm not even counting all my reoccurring income, because I have reoccurring income that comes in as well. This is all just kind of new clients and new income, right? And I just felt it in my heart, and I knew it was going to happen, right? And this has been the biggest shift I have experienced probably in the last 12 months. And that has been to stop really overthinking things, and to really feel things in my heart, right? I've got to just turn off my heating because it suddenly got a bit too warm. That I could, this entire week, I could really, really feel it, even though, and I'm going to share more about this, the evidence wasn't there that this was definitely going to happen, right? But I just felt it. Hi, Rachel, good to see you. Yeah, totally. I've been putting in the work for a little while. Hey, Liana. Hey, Tiffany. I've definitely been consistent, right? I pat myself on my back every day because I've been showing up for this right from the get-go, and when there hasn't been any evidence and so on. And even in this particular week, there was it was just another week in many ways. But I was really clear on what it is that I wanted. And that's the other thing, right? So aside from seeing it, I knew what I wanted, right? And one of the most important things you can do when you want a particular desire is to get really crystal clear on that, right? And at the start of my 6-figure week, for example, I decided that I wanted to increase the investment to work with me. That had been decided. I felt the timing was perfect. It felt really good in my heart. And I decided that I wanted 5 new clients. I ended up with 6. I almost ended up with 7, but I decided I wanted 5 new clients, right? And there was a time during this week when I actually thought it would be possible for me to get 10 new clients and $200,000 in sales, right? And so to your point earlier, Sam, I could not hold that in my heart. That felt really, there was, I had given out more than $200,000 worth of links, right? Essentially, because I'm not taking sales calls. People would say to me, "Oh, tell me about working with you." We'd have a little conversation, and I'd give out all the details, right, including the payment links. And as I felt into how I'd feel to sign up 10 clients, I could feel some overwhelm kicking in. I could feel it. I could feel it in my body, and it didn't feel good in my heart. It didn't feel exciting for me. It actually felt quite overwhelming for me. So that is the work that I have to do now to be able to hold $200,000 in income and clients and all the things in a week, right? But again, it's probably my next goal is probably $200,000 in a month, not necessarily $200,000 in a week. Yeah. But the point being, I didn't feel I could hold it. I did not feel that I could hold it. And if you don't feel, if you have some resistance to what it is that you think you want or you say you want, then that's going to actually slow down, if not block you actually achieving it, right? So you can't get what you want if you also have some fear attached to it. This has been some big lessons that I've learned, but that's not necessarily a lesson that I learned right now. That's been something I've really witnessed and seen in my clients and in myself. There's fear of success, there's fear of failure, there are all the different types of fears that come into life and business. And if you have some resistance or fear around how hard it will be, how much work it will be, whether, what if I can't get them results, any of those things, right? Then that's the work, right? Shift through all of that bullshit, all of that stuff before you can actually achieve it. So to clear the resistance, I was feeling in that particular week, even though I knew 200K wasn't going to really happen for me because I had way too much resistance to it. But I started to sort of play with the energy of, well, what if they all start at different times? What if they all say yes this week, but they start at different times, right? Because I think someone asked me about that. Someone said to me, listen, I'd like to work with you, but I'm thinking of starting in August. And I said, that's fine. The investment will be higher, but if you'd like to make the commitment now and start the payments now, you can start coaching later. And as soon as that happened, I started to visualize that happening, right? Still thinking maybe 200,000 is possible, but I started the week with $100,000 goal. That was what I was visualizing from the beginning. Then I opened myself up to believing that 200,000 was possible. Then I opened up myself up to very much seeing a staggered start. And the reality is I ended up with more than 100,000 actually. I ended up with 6 clients and I ended up with a staggered start, right? I've had 2 who've already joined, 1 who's joining this week, and 3 have already joined, 1 who's started joining this week, and 2 who are joining at a later date, which is perfect. I have never felt so relaxed in my business as I feel right now. Last week was easy, and there's more to last week, and I'm gonna talk to you about that. And like right now, onboarding my clients, giving them the time that they need, and settling them in, all of it feels so expansive, so easy, and there is no overwhelm at all. And this is not how I felt when I had 50,000. When I had my first $50,000 month, probably a couple of years ago, I felt way more overwhelmed. And that's what happens, right? When you shift your beliefs and you shift your energy and you shift your frequency and you start visualizing and believing anything is possible, right? So I ended up with 6 clients and more than $100,000 in sales, just over actually, because 1 was a repeat client and 1 was a returning client and 1 was a one-to-one client, and literally all but 1 client came in within the last 6 hours. So I had to hold that energy and the belief for the entire time of not seeing it happening. Physically, I was like going, what? But why? And every time I felt my energy shift into lack or scarcity or waiting, then I had to realign myself to my vision, to my goal, to my desire. Let me catch up on notes. Thank you, Liana. Totally agree. You may want it consciously, but subconsciously you have a fear. 100%. Absolutely. Yes, yes. Thank you for my birthday wishes. Thank you. I know. I am so, like, my overwhelm in a beautiful way. It's like so beautifully overwhelming for me is I have got so many people I need to respond to who have sent me birthday messages and all the things. And I really want to do that, but I also want to take my time and do it properly. So thank you. I appreciate you all for. Hi Lorna, thank you for being here, and for celebrating me. And Dawn, thank you for being here. Good to see you. I see you're a 7. And listen, whatever your number is, it doesn't shift it towards the 10. When you're a 10, it'll happen. If you don't believe it's possible to you, if you don't believe it's available to you, if you think these are the things that happen to other people and they don't happen to you, then that will absolutely be your reality, right? Period. That will absolutely be your reality. And it's fine. And you might need some evidence, and then you'll have a shift, and then you'll get more evidence, and then you'll have a shift, and so on. And all the ways work. But the fastest way is to really do this energetic work, to do this belief work, to do the inner work, to shift all of that negativity or limiting beliefs or putting people on pedestals and thinking, they're better than you, or that you're not good enough, or that you can't get your clients' results, or any of that stuff. You've got to work through that stuff. Gotta do it, right? And the faster you do it and the more you do that, the sooner you will get everything that you truly, truly desire, because it is all there. It's waiting. It's available to you. Literally. It really is. Yeah. So during that week, I was saying, I'm giving out links, and I could feel myself in that kind of waiting. I'm waiting for people to sign up. I'm waiting, and I was like, okay, and we're not waiting. Waiting has so much lack and scarcity attached to the feeling of waiting, right? Because you don't have what you desire. So I'd have to realign myself to my desire, to what I want, to the gratitude that I felt in my heart because these women had already joined and I've received their payments and I could see them in my program and I was like working with them on their kickoff session and co-creating their messaging and positioning and their offer and all the things. And that was my focus, right? And I'm human, right? Just like everyone here. And I would have dips in my energy. I would kind of go, oh my gosh, it's not going to happen. And then I would go, of course it freaking well is, and I would just, one of the clients signed up literally at 11:39 p.m., knowing that the price increase was happening at midnight. Hold the belief, right? And then I had another little mishap happen as well, which I'm going to share about. So at the start of that week, this was a stretch, right? And I really kind of am a big fan of it, of setting ourselves kind of a little bit of a stretch goal. Hey Leticia, good to see you. Thank you for being here. You have been the best coach and mentor I had. Oh my gosh, I love you so much. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Look, I am so incredibly blessed with the clients that I have. And I'm going to talk about that too, about actually knowing who you want to work with and being really, really selective about that as well, right? But let me just quickly talk about like the stretch goal component of it. Like, it's a really interesting with goal setting, right? Because it's not so much that you have to have a goal, but you have to know what it is that you want. And so, because if you don't know what it is that you want, then you don't even know if you've actually achieved it, right? So for that reason, I like having a goal, and a number is probably the easiest way, right? Like now I have goals of expansiveness and other things that I want to feel, but having something really tangible and numbered that I'm working towards feels, really easy. Not easy, but it's good, right? It's something that I can really grab onto and I can work with. So for me, $100,000 was a stretch goal, right? I'd had $100,000 in a month and I was like, okay, can I do it this week? Yeah. But it didn't feel like it was absolutely impossible either, because I would not have set it as a goal if I thought it was impossible, but it felt like a stretch. I thought 50 was probably doable, too easy in a way. Maybe 80 was possible as well, but 100 felt like it was a nice stretch, right? So, like I said, I won't ever stretch myself so much. I won't go from 10Ks to $1 million. It's like, wanting 10K months, 10K months, 10K months, and then going, I want $1 million. It's like you've set yourself up for failure then, right? We need to give ourselves stepping stones, but at the same time feel a little bit stretched, because otherwise it's like it gets a little bit boring as well. We feel that kind of excitement or, and that anticipation and that you feel, or when you're kind of starting to imagine, well, if that happened, like how amazing would it be? But then back to what I was saying before, you don't want to go imagine if that happens and think, oh my god, that would be really quite scary and a little bit overwhelming, because then we don't really want that. So I'm not train of thought we're talking about stretch goals. I'm just looking at my notes. And I set this goal of $100,000. It was for that particular week. And I'm not necessarily setting myself a goal of $100,000 every week, right? I'm not. It was a stretch goal for that because of what I was doing in that week. Yeah. And historically, I've experienced that whenever I increase the investment to work with me, it does encourage people who have been kind of on the fence, who've been thinking about working with me, who are watching me to make a decision, right? And so I kind of had that as well as kind of in my back of my mind, and so I really thought $100,000 would be doable. So what happens to your energy behind a stretch income goal is it can really help you to obviously earn more than you would normally earn in a week, but it opens your mind to opportunities that otherwise you wouldn't even consider or think about, right? It kind of expands that kind of possibility, excitement, and all those things, right? Because, like I said, it needs to feel like a stretch, but also mustn't feel so overwhelming and stressful and scary and so on. Hey, Sandra, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Late is fine. It's all good. Um, your energy and this last 12 months has been a lot of my work, my inner work has been around this. It has been around kind of the energetics behind my business and myself. And when your energy is aligned to something higher, which is ultimately also what you desire, and you can hold that energy and not drop it, it's when the magic kind of happens, right? And what I've learned is if you don't hit your stretch goal, which is fine, you still end up being a lot closer to it. Like, it's kind of reach for the stars and land on the moon. Is that the same? I don't know, but you know what I mean? Reach higher and you will come closer to that point rather than, you know, going for something that's too realistic, too achievable, too attainable, too doable, and then you might still fall short as well, right? And the key to achieving these kind of illogical results in business is to really, like for me, has been to get really specific with the amount you'd like to attract and equally stay detached from it. And this is tricky, right? This is the tricky stuff. You know how this whole attachment thing and detachment thing happens, right? Because sometimes we want something so badly, we want the sale so badly, we want the client so badly, we actually end up repelling them. Yeah, so it's kind of we want this thing, but at the same time we have to be quite detached from it actually happening and more feel into it having already happened. And feel into a heart how it would feel if it had already happened and feel the gratitude of how incredible it would be because it's already happened, right? Rather than kind of feeling into that kind of need for it to happen and being really, really of it happening, right? When you know what you desire, money, clients can come from the most unexpected places. How does it feel? That's a really good question, Rachel. Can you expand on that for 1 second, just so I don't go off at a completely different tangent? How does it feel? How does what feel? How does letting go of attachment feel? Or how does, tell me what it is that you're asking me specifically, and I will answer that question because I could go off at a completely different tangent. All right, while you're doing that, money can come from all sorts of places. Clients can come from all sorts of places, right? That's the thing. Like, what is actually in our visibility is so to what's out there and what's available to us. Yeah. So my 6 clients consisted of one past client who unexpectedly returned to do some extra work with me, which was absolutely incredible because I adore her and I was so happy to have her back. One client signed up for one-to-one. One client has been wanting to work with me for a little while, probably, when I say a little while, less than a month, but she was sort of thinking of starting sometime in August, maybe towards even the end of August, and she ended up signing up. And 3 of the 6 that did sign up came out of nowhere. I didn't know who they were. I didn't know their names. I didn't know they were watching me. I didn't know they were following me. I didn't know they were considering working with me. Yeah. So that goes to show we don't know, right? Sometimes we're so hung up on the numbers, how many people are watching us, how many people are commenting on us, how many people are liking us, and all those other things. We have no idea of all those other people who are also seeing us and not necessarily um, liking, loving, commenting, and doing all the things, right? Um, and I've shared this before. Just because you don't see the evidence, don't stop showing up, right? Don't keep changing the offer, because every time we change the offer as well, people are like, that's not to say we can't refine and tweak and improve the offer, right? But when we drastically change our offers as well, people are like, hold on, I thought you're selling this. Now you're selling something completely different, and I was kind of interested in that, and now you're selling something completely different, and I'm not even sure you're the right coach for me, right? So trust and believe that people are watching you even when you can't see them. Do you have an energy crash after those high emotions? Tiffany, I have energy crashes, I have wobbles, I have, yeah, but I'm able to catch them, right? So I'm not saying that I'm able to catch them in that immediate moment, but I can very soon, after I'm feeling deflated or feeling like it's not working or feeling like I'm waiting or feeling like I, I'm hope, I can kind of pick myself up, or I will go and talk to my coach and kind of go, I'm catching, I'm feeling this way. And even saying it is kind of enough for me to give myself a reset, right? And so the thing, we are going to have these little wobbles along the way and these different things, but it's how we handle them and how we realign ourselves to what it is that we truly desire and realign our energy. And for me, the easiest thing is fall back on gratitude. Go back to gratitude. Feel gratitude. You know, I'm so grateful. I'm so blessed. I have the best clients, and oh my gosh, these women that I'm so grateful for the money that's in my bank account. I'm so grateful for that PayPal payment. I'm so grateful for the Stripe payment. And I just shift my energy into gratitude and into, you know, seeing it already happening and all those sorts of things, rather than staying in that energy of going, I don't see it, it's not going to happen, what if it doesn't happen? I say I don't let it enter my mind, but I soon get it out of my mind, if that makes sense. um do you feel as good as you visualized or better? I feel about the same, because when I'm visualizing, Rachel, I have my I physically have my hand on my heart, because then it helps me to kind of anchor in that I feel in my heart as well. And I really can feel it kind of almost pulsing through my the whatever. I can feel it in my shoulders, I can feel it in my heart, but I need to make sure that it's a very heart-centered thing, and not I'm not just thinking it into existence necessarily, but I'm actually feeling it as well. Practice it. Play around with these feelings, right? Like back when I couldn't feel the feelings as well, because there has been a time not so long ago when I couldn't actually feel things in my body as well. And I would, so I have children, and I would kind of feel in my heart how it felt to give them a hug. Yeah. And that kind of helped me to get back to my heart. So that's a little thing, that's a little example, but it's just kind of finding like, how do you feel from your heart, and how can you really tap into that feeling from your heart, so that when you are seeing your future as though it has already happened in the past, you can feel it in your body as well. Yeah. I hope I answered your question. I hope that was helpful. But it takes a little bit of practice, I think. And and talk through, like, I have these conversations with my clients all the time too, and just these conversations can be really, really helpful to as well. The other thing that I alluded to that was really, I think, helpful is I was really clear on who I wanted to work with, right? I have the most incredible clients. I am so incredibly blessed. They're the most beautiful women. I have everyone in my mastermind. They are so supportive of each other, and they're just really, really good humans. Yeah. And I've learned over the years, and this is kind of a bit of a muscle memory thing, and this is sort of, right? When right? It boils down to, If there's any inkling that they may not be the right person, they are probably not the right person, right? Trust your intuition. Trust that knowing, right? Get really clear and specific about. So I got really clear and specific about the women I love to work with, right? Who my dream clients are, what stage they're at, just everything about this. And so I was able to visualize that too, right? When I was doing my visualizations, and I could see them in my field. I could literally go, oh my God, that woman, oh my gosh, I can't wait to work with her, that kind of thing. And the more clients I've worked with, the more clearer I've also become on this characteristics that I'm looking for, these kind of characteristics of my soulmate clients, quite honestly. And one of the things that I brought into my visualization also has been kind of, they have the money to invest. Yeah. And so I saw that in my visualizations too, that these women had the money to invest. You know the feeling when you attract the most amazing person to your business, but they're not ready to invest just yet, maybe? Yeah. I've experienced that too. Yeah. Now, I choose to see them as coming into my world for a reason, and it's my job to nurture them until they're ready to bet on themselves. Yeah. I don't mean anything more than that. I don't say things, I don't even entertain the idea. Everyone in my audience has no money. I only attract people who have no money and all that bullshit. Not anymore, not for a long time. Sure, that's entered my mind a while back. It has been a long since that has entered my mind. It's not to say I don't have conversations in Messenger with to say, oh my gosh, I'd love to work with you, but I can't invest right now, or I don't have the money. And I shower them with love, and I kind of know when the time is right, the time is right. I don't make it mean anything more. I don't have stories around that, right? And I've started to also say no to what doesn't feel like a full body yes. And I really, my prospects and the women that I speak to, don't do it if it doesn't feel like a full body yes. And this is one of the reasons I've stopped offering sales calls too. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I have in the past got a lot of comfort from having a sales call with a coach or with someone who's, who I'm making a big investment with. But I've realized that when you know, yeah. And I want to work with clients who know, and they know. Sometimes it does not make sense, but they know. And sometimes the sales conversation even though, like, I stopped doing sales calls more than 12 months ago, but then subsequently I agreed to get on calls with some gorgeous women who've sort of said, look, can we just connect quickly or whatever, but now I'm not even offering that, because if it doesn't feel like a full body yes, maybe it's not meant to be. Yeah. So now I have yeah because I will answer absolutely any question. Absolutely any question. So it's kind of like, and I'm really, my visibility's high. There's so many trainings in here. People can get to know me, like me, and trust me in here. I've got so many testimonials. I've got so much social proof. It's like, if, yeah, people can make that decision. Yeah. Having trust and faith is incredibly powerful in all aspects of your life and in business too. Yeah. And if it doesn't feel a full body yes, then no one should do it. Yeah. And so I alluded to, there was a seventh gorgeous woman, and I actually saw her as being and unfortunately it was a beautiful surprise actually, because she'd paid in full. Yeah. But the payment got declined. The bank stopped it. So she had the funds, but her bank stopped it, which some banks do that. It has happened to me too, because, they kind of saw it as an unusual activity and thought it might be a fraudulent transaction. And so her ended up getting blocked. And she had some challenges trying to get that sorted, and she then kind of saw that as maybe a sign that it wasn't meant to be. So don't get me wrong, I was disappointed. I was definitely disappointed, but then I just kind of went, if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. If it's not a full body yes, it's not a full body yes, And I have this unwavering trust and belief. If it's meant to be, it will happen. If it doesn't happen, it wasn't meant to be now. Maybe it might be later. And if it wasn't that person, it will be someone else. And it was, right? It absolutely was. So someone else signed up instead, right? So yeah, so there's that, right? So this is these little shifts and beliefs and whatever have been very much in the last kind of 6 months, where, like I said, it's not so much that I've changed my strategy, or, it's fact, I'm marketing less, I'm not taking sales calls, I've increased my price, I'm sharing a lot of value, and I'm spending a lot more time with my clients, right? And all of those things absolutely light me up. Yeah. And I feel really incredibly good about my business. And the result of those, or despite those, has been that I ended up having a 100K week. It doesn't make sense, does it? But that's exactly how I see it having happened. Don't do it if it doesn't feel like a full body yes. Manifest loyalty and reliability before ability. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, really good humans, Rachel. Yeah, I know, right? Because it seems so simple, and it really, really is. We sometimes overcomplicate things, It's not about the hustle, it's not about what we're doing. Of course, a good offer, good messaging, good positioning, a good strategy, all of that is important. Yeah, that was 1,000% important for me to get to the 10K months, the 20K months, the 50K months, and so on. Yeah, but then to get to the 100K months and then the 100K weeks, it hasn't been specifically about the strategy, but it's been way more about who I am, the person I've become, the energetics behind the person that or who I'm being. Yeah. The trust, the belief, the conviction, the knowing that everything is working out for me and everything is available to me. Yeah. And that's that's basically what it all boils down to. So let me know, gorgeous ladies, if you have any questions at all, whether you are watching me live or catching the replay. With all of that said, if you are a coach or consultant and ready to really kind of do some crazy things in your business, you're so much more. You know you have a gift and you want to have more impact and you want to make a lot more money, right? Income is important. Income is so important for impact. We cannot have the impact that we truly desire if we don't have the income that we truly desire to, or more than even what we desire, right? Because it's not fun. It is not fun. Money in good hands can do so much good. Yeah. It's incredible the opportunities that open up when you have money. It's incredible the experiences that you can have when you have money. It's incredible the stress and detachment you can have when you have the money. Yeah. You can just let go and trust and believe and be really selective and only say yes to things that feel like a full body yes, and say no to things that don't completely light you up like a Christmas tree that you do in your business because you absolutely have to. Yeah. And, some of these things that I'm doing now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend at the very, very, very of a new business, because sometimes you do need to experience doing things like sales calls and all those things to then stop doing them. But yeah, that's my journey, right, to where I am today. So if you'd like to explore what working with me looks like, drop a hashtag support or send me a private message. I would love to have a conversation with you in the DMs. I won't be selling you anything. I will share all the information if it feels like a full body yes for both of us, right? Because it's a two-way thing. It's a co-creation that happens with my clients, right? And it has to feel like a full body yes for both of us. So I will leave it at that. Gorgeous, gorgeous ladies. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. It's so much more fun when I have a few people that I can engage with. So until next time, thanks for watching and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.